It's time for your Low Country Real Estate Market Update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Thanks for joining me this morning. We got a lot of fun stuff planned today. And this is going to be the show where I give you my predictions for what's going to happen in 2020. So a popular show for many of you. Obviously, a lot of people are trying to figure out what's going on in the world of real estate. What's happening out there? We've had some great conversations over the past several weeks with some folks that are trying to make sense out of, do I even attempt to sell my house right now? Should I be looking for deals out there to buy? Are there investment opportunities in this market? Where I think a lot of people out there are really trying to make sense out of what's happening in our real estate market, nationally, regionally, and locally. So I want to break that down. I want to talk about what's happening with some of these national trends, the mortgage market, limited supply, which has been an issue for years. What are builders doing about it? Where are they? What are we looking at in terms of affordability? Is our market improving, or is it kind of strangled? Is there a massive impact that millennials or baby boomers or Gen Xers or Ys are having on the market? What does that look like? And then what does that mean for us here in Charleston? We can read all these different reports and we can, analyze and interpret, and I will say, obviously I don't have a big degree in economics, and, I haven't, climbed the corporate ladder of success to get to the point where I'm the chief economist for a very large website or, data-driven house. But I've been in the market for over 14 years. I've sold 1,000-plus homes here, over $500 million in real estate represented, and we've got a really good pulse on the market. So we know what's going on, and we want to help you guys better understand what to expect next year if it is within the cards for you to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. So that's the plan here over the next hour. So we're in the studio. We're live. We want to take your calls. We want to answer your questions. We want to know what is concerning to you about the real estate market. Maybe you have a success story you'd like to share, or you have some questions for me that I can answer. No question is too broad or specific. We're happy to help. Feel free to call into the studio. The number here is 843-556-1250. 843-556-1250 is the number here in the studio. Now, if you want to reach out to me outside of this show, you want to talk with me about your real estate needs, your goals, maybe put together a plan for next year, happy to do that. My cell phone number, which is, of course, you can call or text that number, 843-400-8009, 843-400-8009. And, of course, you can find us online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. So let's dive right into this. Let's talk about what I think is going to happen here in 2020. And the first thing that I will say is that the market is very confusing right now. I think a lot of people, even the experts, although they have to put out something, they have to put out their opinion, right? Because everybody looks forward to the real estate predictions and market, outlook and housing forecasts for 2020. There's a lot of mixed messages out there. There are some things that have remained the same depending upon, the source of the information. A lot of shared opinions and views out there. But not so many people out there really care about the trends as they do. What is it going to do to me? What's the impact to my home and the value of my home? Am I going to be able to sell it for more next year? Is it going to stay the same? Is it going to go down? If I'm buying a home, am I going to have to pay more next year? Are there going to be more choices than there are now? Because there certainly aren't very many. Are interest rates going to go up? Those are the questions that people ask, that the things that really matter. And so when you get down to it, here's an article from CNBC where they essentially say that sales of existing homes are going to fall about 2% from this year. Home prices are going to flatten. They're going to go up just 0.8% annually, but they're going to fall in 25% of the largest metropolitan markets in the United States. And as demand heats up in the spring, driven by a growing number of millennials entering the market, which we're definitely going to talk about today, the supply of homes could hit an all-time low. It could hit the lowest monthly supply of inventory in history. Very, very interesting stuff. So you've got that, and then you've got, an article by Forbes, which is saying that the 2019 housing market has been, kind of characterized by low rates and high demand and limited supply, things we've been talking about for years. But then they say, according to the deputy chief economist at title insurance and settlement companies services provider First American, which is a very large title insurance company, there's quote-unquote emerging consensus that rates are going to remain low, likely even lower than they are now, and that as a result, prices will continue to climb. In fact, they say that according to CoreLogic, which is one of the largest data firms for housing information, they're saying home prices are going to go up by 5.6% by next September. So you've got one opinion that's saying they're basically going to go up by 6%. You've got another opinion saying they're going to go up by 1%. And you've got all these, chief economists weighing in on the issue. You've got the guy from Redfin saying, right now we aren't seeing a ton of new listings. Without more listings coming on the market, there will be competition starting off in early 2020, and that will lead to more price pressure. So the problem really worsens in the lower end of the spectrum as far as pricing is concerned, because there's not a lot of inventory there. That's where we have the shortest supply and the highest demand. That's why prices are going up in some of those areas. And what's really important with all of this information and all this data that I'm going to share with you and all these opinions that I have and that others have about the housing market, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Just think about how incredibly perplexed or complex our housing market is here locally. We have waterfront properties, beachfront properties, suburban neighborhoods. We have downtown condos. We have historic properties south of Broad. We have equestrian estates. We have all kinds of property types, all different types of buyers that purchase them in varying price points that, solicit different economic classes to purchase those properties. And yes, we've had a large influx of people coming into the Charleston. One of the bottom lines here is that people are moving here. People are moving here no matter what. And we've got, 11 new births a day still? Charleston is growing. It's going to continue to grow. We're that beacon on the map now for being ranked, top city in the world by Condé Nast Traveler. We're getting all this recognition. People are moving here. But the challenge is, and I'll explain this as best I can, but you've got the kind of bottom-up approach and the top-down approach as it relates to pricing and inventory. So let me explain that. And again, the number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. I invite your opinion on this. There are certainly people that listen to this program that are in the industry that have things that they'd like to say. You're welcome to call 843-556-1250 and share your opinion or ask some questions if I don't hit the things that you guys would like to talk about. But here's the challenge, is that millennials essentially make up the majority of the market right now. And, millennials get this bad rap, and they have for a long time now. It's the hipster that lives with their parents, in their bonus room that, haven't gotten their life together yet. It's really, that's just an unfair characteristic of millennials. We make up the majority of people that are buying homes. It goes back, as far as 1980. I'm a millennial. That's 40 years old next year. These people are putting down roots, and there are some trends with millennials that are important to know, like things like we value experiences more than we do assets and things, which causes people, kind of in line with that trend, to wait to buy the home that they want to and enjoy life before they get married to a mortgage. And so they're out and they're traveling and they're spending their money and they're having fun. And then they, do better in their jobs. Their wages increase. Hopefully they're not riddled with student debt. And they go and they buy a more kind of mid-tier home. It's not like the majority of millennials are buying the $200,000 inventory. We have plenty of folks that are buying $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes in their 20s and 30s. And the challenge is there's just not a lot of inventory for the people that would sell to a millennial to move into. I'll just say that again. The millennials want to buy. The people that would then sell to a millennial to either move up or maybe make a lateral move. They don't necessarily want to buy a much more expensive or much larger home, but maybe they want to change locations. the challenge is they can't really find much that they're interested enough to move into to make sense out of putting their home on the market in the first place. Because what a lot of people are doing is they're shopping for their replacement home first, and then once they find something they like, then they'll put their home on the market. That's the overwhelming trend. But if we have all these people in that same boat and are applying that same methodology, those homes are not visible to the public. They can't be purchased because they're not listed for sale. And so one of the best things that's happening right now, especially for folks that are talking to our team, is that if they don't have to sell at some point next year, if it's more of a want than a need to sell, we are challenging people to put their home on the market now, because inventory is almost non-existent in some of these neighborhoods where there should be, where there is demand. And so we're listing these homes and we're getting an overwhelming amount of interest in the properties because we're visible. Just because nothing else is available means we have more market share of the buyers looking for properties like that. And I can promise you the majority of buyers that are looking this time of year are not out there kicking tires and walking through homes to see how you've decorated it or to see how the other half lives. People have stuff to do right now. The people are busy. People are busy all year long, but they'd rather be spending time with family or getting their home ready for the holidays or doing the last minute holiday shopping. All the things that happen this month, is not really conducive to going out and kicking tires looking at real estate. That's just not really how things work. So it's going to be less quality or less quantity, but higher quality. The people that are looking this time of year are serious. The people that have their homes on the market this time of year usually want to sell, because you have all these folks that have been on the market for the past, 6 months, 9 months. Maybe they've been on the market all year long, and they never thought in a million years that they'd still be on the market without it having been sold. So they're frustrated. They're irritable. They've kind of given up on the value that real estate agents bring to the table. And, we don't really, I maybe can go into that at the tail end of the show because I have so much that I want to get through today. But that's kind of been the recurring message, is that if these folks aren't listed for sale, the buyers that are on the sidelines watching Zillow and all these websites like hawks waiting for new inventory to hit the market can't do anything about it because you haven't raised your hand and said, my home is for sale. Yeah, there's some stipulations that I want to, have met and some hoops that will need to be jumped through, but I'm going to be selling my house. And so the best way for you as a buyer to determine, what's really available out there is to communicate with a real estate team or an agent that does a lot of business, that knows who those people are. We have huge databases of people that at some point in the future will be buying or selling a house. Whenever we list something for sale, of course, we go straight to that database of buyers to say, hey, here's a new listing coming on the market. People want that fresh new listing. They want that service that says, hey, here's something that's about to hit the market. No one else knows about it. Are you interested? You've got first dibs. Who doesn't want that? But agents don't do that anymore because agents are mostly lazy. And on the flip side, when you're going to buy a home, you want to say, all right, well, how do I really know what's available for sale out there? Yes, I can see what's available on Zillow, and I can have an agent send me some properties in the MLS, but there have to be more. There have to be more people out there that would be willing to sell their house to me. How do I find them? And we've done a really good job over the past year and a half or so of very proactively targeting people and neighborhoods and homes that fit certain criteria. We have a way of doing it. It just takes time. It takes manpower. It takes a budget, quite frankly, that most agents don't have. But we do have the ability to very specifically target specific homes, specific areas, or specific people, based on their demographics and geographics and online behavior, to sell real estate at a much higher level, which is one of the things that I think is really going to continue to emerge next year, is this just tech revolution in real estate. And we're going to talk more about all of this as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. We're going to take a break. And again, if you want to call into the studio to, ask me some questions, you want to know what's going on in the housing market, the number here, 843-556-1250, 556-1250. Stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Visit Brian Beatty's website at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.